Hello, my fellow haunts, and welcome to my first stream in quite some time. As you can see, there is a big countdown on screen, as there is some business to be dealt with. If you are watching a VOD of this afterwards and would like just to head to the Minecraft stuff, then skip ahead about 35 minutes. But for now, I need to talk. I was in the best content creator group I could have wanted, something that I never wanted to leave, but now I have no choice. The channels and my overall journey as a Minecraft content creator began with 18 live streams in a 1.7.10 modded world, starting on the 5th of March 2025. On the penultimate of these, I was asked if I was interested in participating in a content creator group, which I accepted. This led to the Paranoid and Interlude SMPs, beginning on the 6th of September. On the 18th of March 2026 was my last live stream of the Interlude SMP. After this had ended, I went on into a game of repo with members of the group. It was during this where I ended up making a joke that should not have been said. This ended up upsetting the other members of the group, and I was kicked and all removed. This may seem like quite a cut and dry situation, but from my perspective, it is much more complicated than this. By December 2025, I had really settled down into the group. The Paranoid SMP was coming to a close and Interlude was underway. Admittedly, the former wasn't for me, as I'm not into lore and roleplay driven Minecraft gameplay, but I took a liking to the other as I was able to do what I liked, building crazy habitations. The new year came about and things were still going well. However, by February, I began to mentally collapse within the group. There are three major incidents and/or moments that I will be discussing here. The one that I mentioned at the start and two others. To be 100% clear, I am not blaming mental health problems on this former one because that would be wrong and disgusting. There were some other moments that happened in the group, such as a bit of a snap during a session of Windrose, but these were generally much smaller than the main trio here, and I will be mentioning some of those when relevant. This was my first Minecraft content creator group, and looking back on it, I didn't make things easy for myself. In my head, I had created an artificial pressure that I essentially had to perform for these people and do as much as I could in terms of all of the events that happened in the group. Even if I didn't want to do them anyway, I made them even if I didn't want to do them, I made myself do them anyway. This basically mixed with my real life anxiety and buried anger issues, creating a cocktail of confusion within myself. This in turn led to me not handling two events on Quality's OP Realm server in the best way that I could. Within what was my 42nd stream was the big event known as the Interlude SMP elections, and there were previous moments leading up to this surrounding myself being uncertain about going ahead with this. My anxiety unfortunately works in that I really beat myself up mentally if something awkward happens with myself involved, even if all is actually well and what happened isn't a big problem. And there were some moments of this happening during the lead up to this event. I nonetheless participated in this event because of what may have happened on the other side of it in terms of builds on the server. I ended up giving my candidate speech last in it, with Luna going third, Joey second, and Fallen first. Right as the first speech went underway, all excitement left me and it felt like a ship sank within myself. It slapped me in the face that this wasn't for me and that I should stop wasting my time with things I wouldn't enjoy. Despite this, I powered through and assisted with other people's content. This stream in question happened on the 5th of March 2026, just under 2 weeks away from the bomb. It would have been at around this time that I was really thinking about myself, my position on the server, and what I was doing in the group holistically. This would have also been at around the time that the first of the two OP Realm events mentioned happened. Plus, this election event may have also ignited my thoughts of change. Not a good time to particularly throw. It was around this time I was thinking of handing in my resignation from a series devised by Ori, and possibly doing something similar in terms of no longer participating in all events on the Interlude and OP Realm servers, with myself possibly leaving that latter one completely. I can be quite slow in terms of forming a proper response or a piece of writing like this, and in turn, had what happened during that repo session not happened, given another couple weeks, actions outlined by myself just now would have taken place. Unfortunately, despite myself not being certain about attending repo that night, I still did, and overall the water boiled over before the heat could be turned down. The session started fairly normal, although it wasn't off to the best of starts. Me and another member of the group were making gay jokes as we normally do, bromance fashion, and another participant was annoyed at us because they wanted a video from this session. At about an hour in, it happened. It may seem like an anticlimax for me not to say what the joke was. However, I just don't know how necessary it is for me to say it within this statement. Was important that it was disgusting and insensitive towards another member of the group, which I am truly sorry for and revolted at myself for even saying. So, what exactly happened and why? Whenever I joined the group, I came from a background of liking offensive humour, which there seemed to be some like for in the group. However, because of personal experiences by some members in it, I ended up blacklisting some jokes that I wouldn't say. For some reason, I did not think to withhold the one that caused the fallout. There's also the point of how I got too comfortable in the group and took it all for granted. More details and drawing of this and more details and drawing up of this in a bit, but I think it has its part in two minor incidents that fall under the same category as the repo one. At some point in late 2025, we were hanging out together on the server in voice chat. One member of the group, a transgender individual, said they couldn't be on for long as they were going out soon. In the lead up to what happened in this moment, we were guessing members' real names as a joking little bit of banter. For some reason, in the background of this particular individual's home, someone referred to them by their dead name. I was completely in the zone and having fun and asked them if that was their name multiple times. Not clocking what I was doing wasn't okay. I think this obviously isn't indicative of myself being transphobic, and that doesn't, just make sure I say that right. I think this obviously isn't indicative of myself being transphobic, and that doesn't really need to be said. At the time, I knew these people changed their names to fit their new life, but I had not heard of the term dead name beforehand. It was me just getting carried away and not knowing things. There was one other in the zone and, metaphorically speaking, noise cancelling headphones on kind of moment I would like to highlight. Towards the end of one of my live streams, we were joking about not missing a player when they left the server for the night. I ended up calling them something which was meant as a joke, but they were still unsettled by it. I immediately apologised to them and cut the moment out of my live stream VOD. As you might be able to tell from these two examples, I can quite easily get into the zone and have difficulties slowing down. On paper, the repo moment here is another one of those, but it is ultimately on a different level because of what was said being much worse. After the explosion, I was removed from the group and blocked by most of the members. One was open to talking, however. Unfortunately, panic mode for myself had set in and I did not deal with the situation at the time or during this attempted conversation the best at all. I basically failed to acknowledge the seriousness of what happened and tried to put everybody else below me. What ensued over the next couple of days was me spouting complete nonsense to this member and being wrong 100% of the time. Eventually, I realised that I was wrong and said something to the effect of, "I'm sorry, I've been wrong in all of this. I am happy to move on." The latter part was a lie because I was and still am not happy to move on from this group. But at the time, I think I realised that this wasn't working and I needed to step away and process. I really struggled to cope with the loss of this all and particularly the interlude server. I ended up sending friend requests to some of the members on Discord a few weeks later for some reason, which, as you can imagine, led to nothing. Over 2 months later now, I have returned with a new mindset. Ultimately, however, my anxiety and mental health have taken a big hit. I have no idea what's on the other side of this live stream, as this is my first one done while being a part of new groups, but I hope what may be ahead somehow acts as a piece of catharsis for myself. I also hope this statement somehow reaches the group, because they were genuinely some of the nicest people I have ever met, and I feel like such a horrible human being for how fucking stupid I was around them. They deserve so much better than the mess I gave them, and I am truly sorry to anybody I have hurt, upset, or those that may feel betrayed. by myself. With all of that being said, I am going to let the timer run, take a moment, and I will be back with the main events of this stream. Well, that text didn't display properly. At least I'll know for next time. Just booting up Minecraft now, and I am going to have a quick hello to people in chat because they like to say hello to me, turn chat off, and then get going. Because who knows if somebody's just going to drop a bad word on chat, and that gets me banned on Twitch. You know, they'll get banned on the Minecraft server as well, but, you know, just in case. You know, random gets me banned or something on game. Anyways, I need to get going. Right, that should be me all good to go and to get going with building today. As you can see, since my last stream, I'm a little worse for wear, but my wounds are slowly mending. So yeah, let's begin. So this is the Queercraft server. Well, my area of the Queercraft server, and what I have settled down in since no longer being a part of the last series I was in. And I'm kind of continuing with the insane nature punk build aesthetic that I am doing, that I kind of thought of for my previous series interlude. Basically, this is going to be a massive steampunk style built city, but it is nature intertwined instead of mechanically intertwined, basically. So basically steampunk but nature intertwined instead of all of the mechanical stuff to it. And as you can see, I have made a fair bit of progress so far. So today this stream is going out on the 27th of May, and earlier today, a few hours ago, released the first episode of the interlude, not the interlude, the Queercraft server. Not off to a good start, are we? I should be putting that back on. And in the first episode, I built up this kind of front part of the base, with that bit, this bit, those bits, and then those kinds of big bracket things there. And then all of that is to come in the next edited episode of the series. And how this is going to work, this live stream, it will work very much like how my interlude series works, in that the live streams from it are basically just going to be recording sessions. So all of this will somehow and eventually end up on YouTube in terms of what I select to record and what have you. So without further ado, let us begin the building insanity that is going to be on today. As you can see, I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of resources organised. I've only been playing on this server for a couple of weeks, and I have been able to get my hands on a lot of resources because of plugins and various shops and what have you that this server has, and myself just not having a life, most likely. Even more over here as well for other parts of the base that will be built / city, and more over here as well. Absolutely tons of stuff to get going with builds on this particular project. Let's make a bit of inventory into my, or room in my inventory here. Let's see. Well, that was a wandering trader or something up there, but no, that's just the lanterns that are up there, isn't it? let's hop on up here a moment, and then I can finally begin the main process of today's work and what have you. And now I would like to start on one of the major features within this mega steampunk nature punk city base type thing that I am building on this server. And that is in the back corner there where those 3 scaffolding towers are. So this base overall is 4 by 4 chunks, so 64 blocks by 64 blocks by about 32 blocks in height, perhaps, overall. Although the only major bit that will reach up to 32 blocks will be a big tower that's going where this sand pillar is. And these 3 scaffolding kind of pillars and what have you here mark out 3 different chunks where I will be doing some big building today. So this won't make much sense for the people watching this on stream, but I will basically be combining 2 builds that I found on Pinterest, which is kind of how I research and find all of my kind of build inspo stuff. So the easiest one to credit is this one here, which has a watermark of John's Mab on it. Nice modern house looking type thing. But then the other one gets a bit confusing. So there is an image I found of this particular build I found on Pinterest, which was shared by somebody just with the username Capybara, and it doesn't have any build guidelines on it or anything like that. However, I ended up finding a different sharing of this exact same build, but it has build guidelines in terms of what dimensions the actual build itself is in terms of block width. But this one also has a YouTube watermark of Tanol Games on the picture, so I'm assuming the credit for this build inspo goes to them. Let's head on down there and begin the major work. And I can't send commands, it's what have you, that's fine. So then I've also put down path guidelines here to mark where the edge of one of these chunks is, as you can see here. And you have another one of those over here. So this little right angle bit here is where I'm going to place this mega bit of construction. And then I think perhaps the first thing to do is to kind of flatten out this piece of land, quite possibly. At least on this level here, I would have said. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way, and then I will do some exciting stuff for myself, which is the building. put all of this away. And all of that should just slap back into my inventory whenever I need it to. Excellent. And then let's actually get one of the shovels into my inventory and let's begin this. I think I said at the start that I kind of wanted to keep it kind of to the nature's landscape, but I don't think I am doing that anymore. Like, keep the land as natural as I can, but with this particular build and how I think this will fit into the overall kind of idea for this place that I'm building, it would be better situated on a flat piece of land, I would have said. Yes, I think, don't know how long I've been playing on this server total, but I have definitely spent many hours grinding and getting resources, without question. Spent a long time getting things for what I want to do on this server. To my understanding, this server does reset once in a while, which I only found out earlier today. But that's only once every few years, I think. And the server recently restarted anyway, so it's, you know, not going to be an issue for me to build a big city and what have you, and worry about the server resetting on me or anything like that. That's not really going to be a worry. I will have time to do a big build on this server and then end the series after that. I did have other ideas and what have you, for what to do on this server, but since there is the obvious possibility of a server reset, I think it's best to curtail my ambitions for it and just get done what I can reasonably get done in the time that I do have, which I do not know, but still. So then I might find another server to play on and what have you after this and do something similar. But hopefully this is a series I actually finish this time, because that would be quite nice. And it would have been nice to do more on my original 1.7.10 modded series world of the 18 live streams. But I'm kind of used to ModdedMinecraft now, and that was quite a slow series anyway, I think I had the kind of odd idea of I have to do everything on camera, otherwise people won't believe me kind of stuff, I think is what I had in mind. But yeah, I'm quite used to modern Minecraft now, so even though that series barely got going in terms of builds and what have you, I don't see myself coming back to it. I just see myself looking forward and seeing what can be done next. Maybe at some point I'll check into another content creator SMP or something like that at some point. But for now, let's just focus on all of this. Where should I put this dirt? Okay. It is so hot in the UK right now. So yeah, this is going to be the main border of this big build, and then I've got all of this space here to work with, because the plan is to have a greenhouse in this part here as the main entrance, and then that can have a little stairway or something like that leading up to this big build that I'm starting here today, as it were. However that will connect, I don't particularly know at the moment. And maybe it would make more sense for me to build the greenhouse, but I'm in tune with doing this mega build today, and I probably am going to need to move all of these chests at some point, which is going to be annoying, but let's worry about that in a bit. What went wrong there? Right, let's put a couple things away. Keep him on me, might be useful. And I'm going to need to take this piece of scaffolding down as well, which I know to be 16 blocks tall because I built it earlier. There we go. So there is a big bit of overhang part to this particular modern house type thing that I would like to construct here. So it's best to go up a few blocks and figure out where that kind of overhang itself is. And I think looking at the build picture that I have, going up 4 blocks is the height that I would like to do. And I think also perhaps having this, no, I think having this would be fine. Just dawned on me that I may want to move it in 1 block, like into here, so the actual side of it is like a window into the outside here, which I think would be a good idea. So let's actually trim this bit back first of all. All right, so I can now finally start building this huge piece of kind of infrastructure and what have you that will be implemented into my city. Looking at the kind of build itself, the kind of build from image that I have, it is a lot smaller in terms of parameters than what I have lined out here. So I might need to get creative and or think of something else possibly to fill in the kind of slots, to fill in the kind of gaps and what have you that there is for this. So kind of trying to triangulate the center of where all of this is. It's 4, 5. So this is the center of it here. Did I do that right? I feel like I didn't do that right. That's 5. That's 6. That's 6. And then this is the center then. Yep, that's right. So This will then go in 2 blocks, and there will be staircase or stair blocks going into the entrance of this building here. And then kind of building up a couple blocks actually, which I can actually just do up here. Gonna start the main kind of frame that this is going to have. How do I do this? Still getting used to scaffolding blocks. That. Then do a bit of this. And then this bit here goes up 4 blocks in terms of that gap. And then that will wrap round like so. And I can actually reach all of that up there. That is impressive. Let's have a look here. So I'm uncertain on the actual dimensions of John's Mabs build. I'm just kind of guessing, having a look at it. But I think the main bit of where this indent is goes out 8 blocks. And then it ends in another kind of upwards corner. Game, why do you test me? Okay. And that block, they're quite something to get used to, the scaffolding blocks, but boy oh boy are they useful. And then let's go up here a few more blocks, like so, and connect that in like so. And then I need the spruce counterpart in behind it. So let's go in here. And go up. And then just do the same basically, but for spruce on the interior. You get creative with them, they are really useful. The scaffolding blocks. Let's do that and a bit of that. Yeah, that's a bit off in terms of where those sit and what have you, but I think that's okay. Just want to have a look at the kind of scale of my other one. So that's all fine. I think then that is just spruce planks in there. That's okay. And that goes out 5 blocks. Right, no worries. Let me figure out now what I want to put on top of this, and then that will give me a good gauge for dimensions overall. Do a bit of that, and then grab myself some stone brick and some slabs as well is what I need for this bit. As well as some fences. Right, be right back. So, kind of back now, and what have you. So the idea is, as you might be able to tell, is to kind of combine the two structures and what have you by kind of basically sticking them on top of one another and have a kind of raised bit in the city, as it were, which will probably go beyond my height limit here, but oh well. I think it'd be a cool idea to have, and I think I can definitely realize it. So now what I want to do is to start building the layer above this bit. What I want to do now is start building the layer that's going to be above this lower part here, so I can fully gauge all of the kind of dimensions and what have you that will be a part of this build. So let's get going with that. Three. One, two, three, 4, 5. That goes down to 19. Do, 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 do. Now I'm thinking if do I want to keep it like going out this much or do I want to cut it in a bit early? That is what I'm kind of thinking and deciding now. Let's see. I think maybe cutting it off a bit early at like here would be best. Yeah, I think that would be best in terms of space and what have you, and then I can just have this wrap around and connect back up to there. So yes, that sounds like a plan to me. Just hope I build everything correctly in terms of dimensional space and what have you. Do that. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Definitely be interesting to see how this base develops overall. I have pretty huge plans for it, as you might be able to tell, and it is going to be fun developing this and actually getting to finish it, because I do not plan on messing up on this server. Well, that went well. There we go. Maybe I should have kept those there. There we go. That's where they were, right? So with myself now having kind of gauged out the kind of general parameters of the upper part of this building, it's kind of time to expand this bit here and kind of continue the frame of it. Don't know how those bits are still up there, but okay. See how far that bit's. Yeah, it's fine. See you come down. Like so. So, expand that bit. Like that. Bit of lag there. Okay, did I just crash my game by pressing tab? Please don't crash. Okay, it did, fuck's sake. Oh, there's how long I've been playing. Then I think with just this bit currently here, I want the rectangle to extend to this back bit here, I would have said, and then work from there and see how I get on. And let's do that like so. think all of this all works out quite nicely in terms of parameters and what have you, because on Mab's build there is kind of a window box portion and a entrance area at this kind of part of it here, so I can easily replicate the window in at this bit here and then kind of figure other bits and pieces out as I go. So yes, happy with how this is coming on so far. It's just a skeleton, but there are much bigger and clearer things to come for this. And now it's time to kind of figure out the general underneath of this structure here, as I don't really have, as I don't have a picture of the interior foo. And now it's time to figure out the kind of underpart of this structure, which may require a bit of improving on my part, as I don't have a detailed photo from that angle of John's build, but I should be able to figure something out. So with all of this being a bit resized, it's time to figure out the middle of this once more. And do the same on this side here. Excellent, wasn't too far off. And just have a couple of stairs in like so. And I think generally this is a bit of a underpass kind of area from looking at it by Mab's build, at least from how I'm interpreting it, because it seems like this upper level here isn't intended to be accessed by this lower part here, but that works out well for myself in terms of what I would like to do for it and what have you. So let's get going with that. So you get the torches in there. So the next bit I'm going to do is just go around these wooden stairs and what have you with these slabs and what have you. Let's see. Okay, because they're quite indented, aren't they? That's fine. So like that again. See, because that's only going to be 4 blocks that side, and then 3 blocks that side. C. maybe just make this 4 stair blocks then. That's fine. Because they only used 3 stair blocks in the original build, which is what I was kind of thinking about there. So then I just want to kind of make a rectangle of stairs here, or slabs rather, is what I would like to do next. And see here. Did I put these in any way underneath these logs here? I don't think I did. No, there was no way I could have done. Anyway, it's fine. I think it would be good to expand these outwards. So these would be under some logs anyway. Suppose what I can actually do here then is to kind of alleviate that issue, is to make this 3 stairs again, have 4 slabs protrude outwards like that, and then have slabs like so. I think would be best to do it, I would have said. And then just have that underneath the spruce and what have you. But not at this particular, these ones here on that side. So have that like that. So that's fine. Let's go. That I think is looking good and what have you for this kind of part down here, I would have said. It's just now a matter of figuring out how to incorporate everything else into the build and what have you. So that's fine. So there's going to be a staircase kind of coming down here, and then there will be kind of a few plant crops above this bit here. So now I think it's going to be a matter of kind of figuring all of those bits out and then going from there, I would have said, is the next kind of logical bit for me to do this, I would have said. definitely a build that needs a lot of calculations and what have you done to it, and careful kind of figuring out of where everything goes and what have you. See here, need to get birch for this, pretty sure. Or should I just use the bamboo and what have you? No, I think that's oak actually. Yes, I think that is oak. Never mind. Yeah, that's definitely oak. Disregard. Those appear to be spruce slabs again, so that's fine. Let's get some dirt as well for this. Because I will need some of that. Let's have a look here. Also going to need barrels and water buckets as well for parts here. Let's see here. I think I have everything for that apart from the plant crops, which is fine. As I can add those in a bit. Yeah, all's looking good. I am going to take another heat break because it is incredibly warm in my office at the moment. So be right back and I will be ready to start more work on this construct. unfortunate thing about those heat breaks is that it is going to cause the live stream to be a bit stilted overall, but hopefully better things are on the horizon for me and this streaming stuff. Why does that crash my game every time I press that tab button? That is just infuriating. Or make it lag out, rather. So it would appear at this point that I am habitually going from layer to layer and kind of oscillating in that pattern, but it is really helping me with gauging all of the kind of parameters and what have you for this build, because or this part of the city, because it is quite a hefty and sizable part of it and what have you. So the next bit that I want to do is go back up to the top and start building some of the farming patches and what have you that there are going to be on this upper level, and start figuring things out from there. Let's see. So to start this off, I am going to, it's not 100% accurate as to how it is and what have you, but okay, that's a bit of, yeah, I recognise a bit of lag there. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue. Not down a bar or anything, that's unusual. But I now want to dip down here and do some kind of dirt donuts, as it were, for the farm patches and what have you that are going to be, at least on this section of the city and what have you, because above this still there will be even more kind of farming patches and what have you, is what I have settled down for in terms of builds on this city. So then next it's going to be a kind of crossy pattern of planks like so, with furnaces and barrels on top of them like so, and then more dirt donuts. That sounds like a sex thing. More dirt donuts and what have you, kind of filling up this kind of space here, and this will go out too wide, is how it is on the original build. Nope. I'm going to want to go back down there though, actually, so that kind of works out well. And then along this side here is going to be oak and spruce with slabs on top, like so. And then on these bits here, I'm going to have composters, which is the first time I've used these in a build, I'm pretty sure. Just sitting on top of the torch like so, with a flowering azalea leaf sitting on top, like so. And then I'm going to come in underneath and see. Actually, what I can do is figure out where all of that is going to flow and what have you in terms of the water, just by kind of going underneath and what have you. Get a third bucket here that I have somewhere. And then just simply go back up here. And then just place the waters in like so. And then I can easily just place the composters back in like so. And then there's obviously going to be a thing about light up here as well. Is another thing to kind of think about and what have you. So it might be good to have lanterns on these blocks here. I think that would be good. Let's have a look here. And then at least on C. And for now, I would like to have another kind of row of this set up here along this kind of part here. Which kind of interferes with that a bit. Actually, it doesn't, because that's fine like so. Yeah, it just isn't sitting 100% right in my brain, and that's why not because of all of that, it's because this is one block too short. That's why it wasn't sitting right in my brain. Me when a dick. Right. And then do that round like so. I think cutting out a hole in this kind of fence here would be good in order to accommodate for some more water and what have you, or stairway or something like that. And then just do another one of these donuts over here. And then I think to add in a bit more light into this area, I am going to remove these bits here and then get some stairs actually. Should put down a crafting table up there for the farmers and what have you. That's a idea. Kind of put her up a bit like so. And only if I had some slabs. Fuck it, putting down a crafting table up here. And actually going to change up the pattern of the floor a bit and put one here and one here. Like so. that how I want it? I believe so. And put in a couple little lanterns like that. I think that looks good and is a bit different and kind of spices things up, so to speak. And then I would like to actually get some crops down up here, as that will make things look a bit more complete and whole up here. Let's see, do I have... Yep, I have Daddy on me. Right. And let's have a think here. I think a good pattern to have all of this is to do... Let's have a think. So, seeds here, here, and then potatoes here and there, and then carrots there and here is perhaps the way to go about this, I think. I think that would be a good pattern of crops, just thinking about how it will look when they're all grown. Then let's do seeds here. And here. And potatoes in this section here. And in this bit here also. And have carrots in the other spots. Then when all of this is grown, it should make a decent looking pattern, I would think. May need to have a bit of light up here as well. But yes, I think that's a good start for the upper bit there. And now it's just kind of a matter of thinking of what I would like to do next in terms of the build and what have you. So obviously I'm kind of adapting it and what have you a fair bit to fit my own kind of builder's needs and what have you, so to speak, because it is kind of two builds merged into one. And maybe it would be good if I extended this out another block and have another kind of wrap round of the crops and then stairs going up here on this particular point here. I think that's a decent idea and what I would like to do next. Okay, I am lagging quite a bit. Not a good sign. Okay, that was a big lag spike. And I think the next bit that let's do build that up again for a retake, because I wasn't recording for the episode then. So then with what I think I would like to do next is to have two more of these patches go outwards like so, and then have two more next to those like that. So there's kind of like a right angled, so an odd kind of shape of them into place. And then in this kind of square here will be a kind of staircase to go up to the main kind of farmhouse that will be sitting up here. Or maybe it'd be good to have another kind of farming patch here and another two there, and then the actual staircase on this edge here. I think that would be best. So let's go and get to work on all of that, shall we? Out for toolsies. My tortoise. When your sister bites your foot off. Now it does exceed the barrier a bit in terms of how far I wanted all of this to go out, but I am going to add in another patch of plants, one more patch over here. Do 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because it will look a bit more unusual and have an interesting kind of shape to it overall. So then this would be patch, and then patch and a patch of plants. And then this here will be the kind of main staircase to go up and what have you to the upper level. And then access to the staircase for the lower section of this building, which will sit in this kind of section here, or something like that is the idea I'm having for this at the moment. dear, you're not right. Me in school. Oh, damn, all these bitches around me, so allergic. So I think with the idea I kind of have this in my head, this is looking good so far, but I'm wondering if it's a bit big for the city and what have you. But then again, I have a lot of space to work with and what have you in this city, and kind of parameter and what have you. Overall, as you can see, I've got a lot more wiggle room and things planned out, so I think that is good and what have you. It just looks like it's absolutely massive from down there, when it actually isn't that big when you compare it to the overall scale of the perimeter and how big it is in the grand scheme of things in terms of the city, as it were. So yeah, very happy with how that is looking at the moment. I think I'm going to place a few more plants down and then end stream, because the heat is getting to me quite a bit. Yeah, been a bit stilted this stream and what have you because of all of the heat and what have you. But I'm happy with the progress that I have made in time and what have you overall. So yeah, all's good, I would have said. Definitely quite a large piece of building that I am doing there overall. I think that was me that got to those plants earlier. Just need a few more from up here. And then I can get going with more planting at my main base. This is all kind of public farms and what have you. These kind of area, this area I'm in at the moment. that. And chat hidden. Right, let's get back to planting. Daddy is getting a bit weak, it would seem. Trip to the XP farm it is. And that is the wrong block. That is potatoes. Come on, you can do it, Daddy. Come on. And he just about makes it. What a champion you are, Dad. Oh, hello, Jibby. How are you doing? Didn't expect to see you here. Well, maybe I should have done since you were posted in self-promo about me streaming tonight. So, just in case you're wondering what my skills at Minecraft are like, let me just do this is what I have of my base on this server, at least so far. As you can see, it's pretty big. So the overall style I'm going for is steampunk, but with all of the nature, but with all of the mechanical stuff kind of replaced by nature in it. And it's a big crazy city, basically. Played on this server for about 61 hours so far, and this is what I have built so far. keep in mind a lot of those hours are resource gathering and what have you, because you've got chests here of shit and even more chests over here kind of full of stuff to build with. Keep in mind there are kind of plugins on this server and what have you, and kind of shops and what have you that help you to get these kind of things, but still. And of course you have all sorts of wonderful map artworks by the community on this server as well, which are all very, very nice looking. Definitely be incorporating a few of these into the city here and there. And it is a LGBTQ+ server as well, so there is a lot of saucy stuff or spicy things, shall we say. Let's see here. Turn chat off again before something crazy happens. Is there any parts to the builds that I wanted to do next? Because how I do all of this is browse Pinterest for inspiration and then save screenshots of those Pinterest posts to a single person Discord and have all of that organized for builds and what have you, basically. Let's have a look here. So I guess the next bit here would be to do the staircase that I want for this kind of going up here, which will then lead to the main kind of farmhouse that I will have sitting on top. Let's see if I can do something about that. Need a ton of wood though for this. And maybe it'd be good up here to have some artwork and what have you for the overall area up here as well, perhaps. Let's do... Let's see.
Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. Jibberdamite is now a haunter.
Thank you very much, Jibby. Sorry if that scared you. What was I going to do? Get more oak and what have you to fill in the underneath of this bit up here. What was the next bit I was going to do? But it goes with the horror haunted theme, so you know, it's kind of on brand, shall we say. If you're wondering, I have a Doctor Who quote for my raid notification as well, which is just awesome. I had that go off once on the old group, and it was really quite something. During that particular situation, you can actually see it in use at the very end of interlude episode 9 on my channel. And then I think, yeah, that's it. I think I will only fill in part of this for the time being, just to get a kind of space and what have you for this placed down. There is a lot of wood in this build at the moment, but it will be brightened up with other things in due course. But no, this is kind of what I do in Minecraft, incredibly detailed and crazy in habitations and what have you. I have one modded world from like 10 years ago that was incredibly detailed and what have you, and I'm really happy with how that kind of turned out and what have you. Can I reach those from here? Cannot. Okay, fine. And this is actually much bigger than my old base that I did on the interlude series as well, because I believe on the interlude series it was only 3 by 4 chunks, so 48 blocks wide and 64 blocks deep, I think, if I remember correctly. But this one is a full 4 by 4 chunks, or 64 blocks by 64 blocks. But both of the main kind of builds and what have you in those, or in these series, is rather, I think, are both going to be about 32 blocks tall or taller. In this case, this one is definitely proving to be a lot bigger than my first attempt at building a base like this, which was on interlude. Still have a pot? Nope, I don't. Go up here. And I think up here I would like to replicate the staircase build that there was in the original here, which I think just uses lanterns and azalea leaves and some more wood, namely spruce and oak. so sweaty in the UK right now. It feels like I need to like cleanse my room and like decontaminate it. I'm not even in mainland UK as well, I'm in Northern Ireland. Really should have a window open, but here we are. And then I think that's what I need for this next bit. That's all I should need. Bit of oak stairs as well, actually. And I need the leaves as well for this as well, which I have over here somewhere. Those are the ones. And grab some of these spruce planks. Have that come up like so. And then oak in those parts like so. Not like that. And then have this extend a bit like so. And have a lantern, couple lanterns like that. And so then on the main build that I am working from and what have you in terms of Pinterest post and what have you, the main kind of farmhouse building itself sits along here and what have you, which I think will be good to have in the same kind of angle and what have you. I just have to do a bit of a different entrance and what have you to it, which is going to be okay to do. So I think the next bit is just to fill in these kind of planks for this kind of top deck here, and then I can add in some more details and what have you. So let me do that quickly. Although who knows how long this will actually take me. It's not too bad. Could be bigger things to fill in Minecraft before or take out. On the older server I was on, Interlude, helped out one of my friends now and again with digging out a mountain without haste 2, leveling it by 40 blocks. It was absolutely ridiculously big mountain, and that was certainly a process to get it down to where they wanted it. Certainly have done other kind of big projects like that in Minecraft where where is that block that I saw? There was a random block somewhere here that didn't look right to me. Yeah, there it is. Don't know how that got there like that, but it did somehow. Honestly, I enjoy excavating. Excavating can be quite fun and satisfying sometimes, especially when you have a haste 2 beacon in your world and what have you, and can be quite a relaxing thing to do and what have you, and necessary when you want to gather a whole bunch of stone blocks and what have you for your build that you are wanting to do above ground. Keep in mind, I've only been playing on this server for half a month. Actually, since the 5th of this month, so about just over 3 weeks now. But then again, I was able to get a haste 2 beacon and efficiency pickaxe quite early on and what have you, with all of the shops and plugins and stuff that there are on this server, which is very handy because it let me get going and what have you quite quickly in terms of setting up and what have you. I don't know what it is about building, but I just love building things in Minecraft. I've always had quite a constructive brain as a person overall. So how do I get out of this? Like that. That's how you get out of it. And boy does this need lit up. So then the main farmer's house is the next piece of contention and where something has got to go in terms of where everything will sit and what have you in terms of the final build. A few blocks here and there. and get some more spruce slabs as well, which I probably have some crafted somewhere, but wood is easy to get. And get those. So with my kind of combining of two different builds on Pinterest, the size of the build I'm taking from for this upper bit here is a lot smaller on Pinterest than with myself trying to combine two different builds here and what have you. The upper part here is a lot bigger in terms of what I'm actually building. In terms of what I'm actually building compared to what's on the Pinterest post. So this bit here, this kind of gap here, isn't on the Pinterest post of this upper deck, but it is, but this kind of long rectangle is here. So I do have a fair bit of wiggle room and what have you to do and what have you to work with. So the only thing is that the building itself that kind of sits on top sits quite snugly in the kind of top corner of it to the left of the staircase here. So that would be off in this direction, but with how I've kind of built it here, it's kind of would be perfect in this kind of direction here. And I think that's how I am going to have it, have the building itself here, because then what I can then do eventually is have another overarching kind of walkway or something like that, kind of connecting to another upper part of the city, because these bits here are going to be houses and there's going to be a kind of a staircase coming up here to those bits anyway. So I'll be able to connect a pathway up here through some means at some point anyhow. So that is definitely something I can work on. And then there'll be other kind of various upper walkways and what have you in this city eventually as well, whenever it's built. So in terms of getting down the kind of main structure kind of parameters for the main farmers building and what have you, which I've also just noticed is only like 12 blocks long. In other words, 2 of these here. So I could either extend it or just keep it short as it is and then just have a bigger room here. But I think extending the building and what have you will be the way to go. So that will come out to this here instead with how I'm building this. Maybe actually have the blocks out a bit more like so. Maybe not actually, because in case somebody wants to walk through here and then they can walk around the building if necessary, if they really wanted to. But I suppose that wouldn't really matter in terms of space, and I'm not too sure if I would be doing that too much and what have you, I'd most likely just run directly through the middle of it and what have you, most likely. So that's fine there, and then I think these can extend upwards a few more blocks just to get those kind of outlined for myself. ADHD brain needs to watch something chaotic. Welcome to my life, chaotic. And also get a super chat. Yes, that is something I need to look into at some point as well. So with those kind of parameters laid out for the kind of farmer's cabin and what have you that I will be kind of having up there, I think it is time to put in some little decorations and what have you that will be kind of sat around here and what have you, which would be like piles of hay and a few other kind of bits and pieces. So let's get going with that. If I will fit down here, please. Definitely a lot of things that I can do / add on this build and what have you in terms of decor and what have you. And hopefully I can just punch through, it's fine. That's fine. So then what I can do now is just sink into here and get to all of my stuff. Brilliant. A flowering azalea as well may be a good thing for me to try and find, but I'm not too sure whereabouts to get that. Probably from one of the markets and what have you, but not that interested in doing that at the moment. Put some sea pickles in here, didn't I? I did. Also, I'm gonna need some spruce wood and what have you for these bits and what have you, and then also find some more barrels, which I probably have upstairs somewhere. Let's have a look here. Probably get a pile of melons as well, or in the general area up there as well. So let me go get those from a public farm quickly. definitely a lot more things I'm looking into on YouTube and what have you. Definitely more things I want to do on this channel, and I think how it's going to work for now is there will be hopefully videos once a week with redstone with Minecraft videos. Oh, he's giving me iron. Give me iron. Okay. That was a bit random. So I think I want to try and do again one video a week and then one stream a week for the moment. Although earlier in the new year I did up that to 2 streams a week. But for now I think I'm just doing one stream a week just to get myself going again. So I think it will be a pattern of a Minecraft video, another Minecraft video, and then it will be a repo video, and then Minecraft video after that, Minecraft video after that, repo video, and then kind of go in that pattern and what have you, because I have a lot of repo recordings saved up without question. Barrels are up here somewhere, I believe. Where are they? Yes, they are. And cactus as well would be good to have as a plant up here. Maybe also some birch stairs would be handy as well. Here he goes. He did this kind of whole fancy thing with the scaffolding, and he's not using it. Then do. Let's get some shroom lights as well, because I think they will look good for up here in parts. And then do I have any of the mats with me and what have you? I do back there actually. Because I have an idea of what I want to do here. Lots of stuff in my inventory. Let us grab the slut, and let us also grab yeah, it's heckin' windy for up here. I think that would be good. So then up here, have a shrimp light, and then kind of a birch stair, like so, and have that kind of go across the top there. And then is that, no, that's the one. And then place an item frame here, and then one of those in the item frame, because what garden isn't complete without a few slots. And then I think up there I would like a regular oak trapdoor. Let's get one of those quickly. Like so. This little bit here I can just use as a kind of shelf for various plants and what have you that I have. So I can do a mangrove propagule there and a sunflower there, which is not the one that I had in mind for that. That is the 2 tall sunflower, which do not go in the pots. Let's go for a oxeye daisy. That will look good up there. And I think at the edge here I will have a couple of the sea pickles. I believe these are the ones that you can... I know there's one, oh, that's how you do it. There we go. And I have a few sea pickles up there, so it's like a little table for plants and what have you. Then I think in the corner here I will have a couple barrels kind of stacked on top of each other at random. Kind of like so. Like they're doing Tetris or something like that. And then I think in front of that I will have a couple hay bales kind of scattered in amongst everything, kind of like so. Let's have a look here. And perhaps as a way of adding more light to this upper level, could maybe have a kind of a semi-hidden jack-o'-lantern in the corner here. Kind of like so. Maybe have it facing that way. See. And have pot sitting on top like so. And then I've got to incorporate a crafting table up here somehow. So probably have that in the corner here. And then they have in the original build what looks like a couch type thing that they just made up of wood, which goes, I think, something like this, according to my eyes. If I'm looking at that correctly. See here. Let's get some regular oak log for this next bit, because it would appear they have that but sideways at the back of it, which is a good detail, and I'm amazed I can pick that up from a fairly grainy screenshot of this. And then 2 trapdoors at the top, like so, and have another one like that, and it looks like they have another trapdoor in the corner here, so be it. I'll add a couple more in round there, like so. Then in the middle, it looks like they have some kind of table and what have you, almost directly in front of the bench and what have you that I have just built here. Let's do, and that does have wool and what have you a bit, but I can't 100% decipher what the middle block of this is. Definitely something greenish, so I am just going to use emerald blocks for the table for now, which I should have in here somewhere. Yep. Maybe have a cake as well up there, will be a good detail. And also get some carpet, which I believe I have my wool shulker in here. I do. Which is just those ones for now. That's not 100% ideal. I think I would quite like the brown carpet that they have there, which is fine because I can get the white wool that I have in here somewhere. And just dye that into brown, but I'm not 100% sure where I have put that white wool. Let's go to sheep farm really quickly. I could use the string, but I want to keep that on reserve for putting on top of plants and what have you to prevent them from growing. Actually, there's some brown wool in there. Excellent. Thought I had some somewhere. And then as a bit of a contrast in colour, it would appear that they used jungle wood and what have you for a little connector to the table itself, which is an interesting little piece of detail. Why not have some broken down jungle planks? What does it matter? which is always good to add a bit of contrasting colours here and there. So then how this is going to go into place is make a few more of these. All of these bits here are going to be temporary. So then shuffle that on like so. And then I can have the stairs going in like that. Oh, I see what they've done. They've used wooden slabs and then some kind of leaf block for like a little placement mat on top is what they have done for the table, it would appear. But I wasn't smart enough to decipher that at the time. So expensive emerald blocks it is for the moment, but I am probably going to want to change that because that doesn't look that good as it does there. But maybe what I can do is transform those into carpet. That would look a bit awkward now. Maybe it will be best if I can try and find that leafy block and swap that eventually. But for now I will just stick with the emerald, even though that's not my preferred way of how this looks at the moment. And just set a lantern up here and then just give them a bit of a snack on the side there. Anything else to do? So then I think on this side here I'm going to add in some more kind of potted plants with barrels. Get another 3. And let's put these up against the back bit here. And so have a bit of hidden light come through like so. And have a random one of those be a flowering one. And then that's it. We've got a bit of decoration up here. Although there is a few more bits and pieces that could be added to this and what have you, most definitely. But I am very happy with how that is looking overall. And I think with that, that is got to end this live stream because it is 1:45 in the morning for myself and the heat is getting to me, and I wouldn't be surprised if I wake up with another nosebleed in the morning or later on because of how much I've been blowing it today. Runny nose and hot, humid weather, not a good combination. Figure out place to go for the outro, or place to put stuff in for the outro. Let's see here. Toss those in there because I don't want to be holding anything during the outro. And so that concludes my 47th Minecraft live stream overall. My first one on the Queercraft Minecraft server, and my first live stream since March of this year, and my first one of doing this big project here, which I think is starting to come along very nicely, but boy oh boy is it a big one. I think next and what have you, I will start to work on or build a little greenhouse kind of just below that dark oak you're seeing to my character's right, and have that as a entrance area into the city and record that. So chronologically, whenever the episodes get edited, whenever my edited segments are edited and done and presented from this live stream, it will then, the episodes will then flow into showing the greenhouse. But then the next live stream will probably be work continued on this big bit that I have been doing today as such. So like, favorite, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of slightly stilted return live stream. So like, favorite, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live stream, and I will see you next time.